streaming live across the country, tackling the topics everyone is talking about online. Share, engage, and interact. This is Newsfeed Now.
Good Monday morning, Monday fun day as I started. Thanks so much for starting your week with a dose of Newsfeed Now. I'm your host, Hillary Hunt, and we're going to talk about everything that is trending online today. But let's start with talking about some of today's top trending stories. We're going to be talking a rapper who's battling COVID-19, a young author, a toddler that's a very good chef, and the kind of people helping one another in a time of need. One of my favorite stories. We're going to cover all those in the next 20 minutes. But first, we have to start on Capitol Hill. We got to take a look at what's going on in our nation's capital. Happening just moments ago, if you're looking at your Twitter feed, this is what's happening. The U.S. House asked Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment against President Trump. Democrats and some Republicans are calling for President Trump to leave the White House after last week's riots at our nation's capital. Here's the thing. If he doesn't resign, the House plans to take up articles of impeachment. More than 200 House members and more than a third of the Senate are calling for the president's resignation or removal if needed. The House is considering charging the president with incitement of an insurrection. And this morning, the president's wife speaking out, the First Lady Melania Trump releasing a statement about Wednesday's attack, saying in part, "Our nation must heal in a civil manner. Make no mistake about it. I absolutely condemn the violence that occurred on our nation's capital. Violence is never acceptable." And on the other side of the aisle, Vogue magazine facing some criticism for putting Vice President-elect Kamala Harris on its February cover. But here's why. Critics are reacting to the cover, believing Harris looks washed out and light-skinned. Some even saying she's too casual looking for the photo, saying it's disrespectful to the office she's about to take. There is another picture, however, where she's wearing a blue suit with a more professional look. Harris's team believes that picture is going to take the cover. But along the campaign trail, she was always wearing sneakers, kind of her style there. Now, in South Dakota, a man's Facebook Live video paints the devastating picture of COVID-19 and how it affects people. The 42-year-old is a father of 5 and says his only chance for survival is a double lung transplant. Angela Konecki has this story.
Hip-hop artist Nathan Foote, whose stage name is Crime Spree, writes lyrics about his difficult life, from getting involved in gang activity in Winter at a young age and going to prison at 16. After spending 15 years behind bars for aggravated assault and drugs, Foote turned his life around.
I've been 8 years sober, 8 years clean, since the day I walked out of prison.
We've been together 19 years, so I've seen the steps he's taken, the improvements he's made, the sobriety he has, the efforts he's made as a father and as a spouse.
The Footes have 5 children, ranging in age from 7 to 17. The family thought they had put hard times behind them when Nathan contracted COVID-19 in October and developed pneumonia.
The COVID really messed my lungs up. The only thing I can explain it is they scarred. My lungs are scarred.
Doctors have told Nathan that he needs a double lung transplant. Only there is a shortage of lung donors, and COVID-19 has increased the demand for the procedure.
They said even if I make the list, lungs, they're hard to come by. So, I could be waiting forever for a pair of lungs.
Doesn't have forever.
Nathan says if he doesn't get new lungs within 2 months, he will die. And that is what prompted him to send this message over Facebook to his family and friends.
So now, I sit and wait. I wait for death to come. It's like one of the hardest in the world, man.
What is that like to have to face your own death at 42?
It's hard. It's really hard. It's being that it could go at any time. You kind of got to get everything done.
Nathan had to have some very hard conversations with them, the I love yous and I'm proud of you and I'm sorry I have to go so soon.
I always thought I'd have a lot more time with them, a lot more years with them. You can't take it for granted,
Nathan says he wants people to take COVID-19 seriously.
I was a non-believer of this COVID stuff. If you would have asked me before this, I thought COVID was fake, but it's not fake.
Don't think it won't affect you, even though you're healthy and otherwise have nothing wrong. It could take you down in a moment.
And pray for me, man. I could get this transplant. Really need a transplant.
The man who goes by Crime Spree on stage and who beat the odds stacked up against him in life won't give up hope that he can do it one more time on the transplant list.
If I ever gonna win the lottery, then this is the time. Should we leave with a chant? Crime spree forever. Crime spree forever. Don't let it be forgotten, man. I wish it was different. Thank you.
Several COVID-19 patients have received double lung transplants in the U.S. It can cost up to $1 million.
Thoughts are with that father and, of course, his family during this time. Now let's move over into the Midwest. A positive story here. A 7-year-old Michigan girl named Mackenzie Smith, she also goes by Kenzie, has published her first book. She calls it My New Normal, and it's about her life during the pandemic. Here's Michael Thomas.
Hand washing and mask wearing, two of the biggest things 7-year-old Mackenzie of Lansing highlighted in her newly published book.
The book is mostly about how coronavirus started affecting my life.
Last March, when things began shutting down and health mandates from Governor Whitmer rolled out, like many children, she didn't understand some things.
Social distance and
follow the rules.
And follow the rules and make sure everybody stays safe.
Her parents explained to her the importance of the governor's health mandates and COVID, or as Kenzie likes to call it, Big Gretch's rules. And after, she wanted to share that knowledge.
We started in August.
So I think I look at it like a team effort. It was all of us. Just Mackenzie just spilling her mind out on how she was feeling about the coronavirus.
And through the eyes of Kenzie, it talks about everything from Zoom school to graduating kindergarten during a pandemic. And publishing a book at 7 years old is something her parents say they couldn't be more proud of.
It's still unbelievable, actually, just to know that this is actually done and it's created. And she's actually an author now, like you said, at 7 years old.
And while she may not always enjoy some of the mandates, she understands and knows the importance of them.
I want to go back to school every day. I can even go to school in weekends.
But for now, Kenzie says she's all about following the rules and helping save lives. And she hopes this book helps others do the same.
What a smart little girl. We want to bring in Michael Thomas joining us from Lansing, Michigan, where that story was filmed. And Michael, talk about just spreading that message to other little kids. Because, you know, like she said, she didn't even understand it at first, which is why they really drove her to do this book.
Yeah, so she actually has already sold over 300 books when I last spoke to the father. And I think her biggest message was that she actually wanted to send it out to her classmates and her friends, because the last message that she had said, and I didn't put it in the package, was that she wanted to make sure that her friends knew that no matter where they were in the United States, that their hearts were still connected, and that she hoped that they understood all of the mandates that the governors were putting out.
And, you know, also talk about the importance of helping kids understand this, because this is such a confusing time for, you know, the everyday person, but especially little kids. How do they understand, I need to wear a mask, I need to wash my hands?
Yeah, and actually, Mom and Dad put a section in the book. So if you get it on Kindle or if you actually purchase it, there's a section in the back, and it lists different things of exactly how you should talk to your child, what you should talk with them about, and exactly how you should maybe go about explaining the mask wearing and the hand washing and COVID-19 in general. So there are some tips in there from Mom and Dad and how they helped Mackenzie herself understand it all.
Yeah, so you got to pick up that book, and like Michael said, you can even get it on Kindle. What a smart girl. 300 copies down. I'm sure a lot more to go. Thanks so much, Michael. Very important to teach kids about how to stay safe during this pandemic. Well, staying home during these COVID times obviously isn't easy, but thank goodness for entertainment like books. And guess what? In this case, a little girl named Evie, Simone Woolridge, introduces us to Evie and lets us know why we should really be on the lookout for this little girl. Check it out.
Parents, if you know, you know.
There are moments during the day that are really tough.
Staying at home during these COVID times isn't easy, but thank goodness for entertainment. In the Balaki household, the family is thoroughly entertained, but they aren't the only ones.
I absolutely look forward to Wednesdays.
2-year-old Evie is a baker, and Julia Greising is one of her fans. Don't believe me? Just watch.
Are you ready to cook for me? A muffin pan. Muffin pan. No, the muffin man.
Each week, Evie grabs her apron, her chef hat, and the show begins after the counter is set with ingredients.
We just decided to start filming it one day.
What do you like to cook?
Cookies.
When I stopped by the chef's kitchen, I was quickly schooled by a toddler with a hand mixer.
You want me to move it? This way?
With the infamous words,
Welcome to my show.
the show begins. In between bites of chocolate and spoon scoops, we made Evie's famous cookies. And if you're wondering just how famous they are.
Time now for What to Watch. And Vlad, I have a special guest host today with a toss. Take it away, Evie.
This famous.
Thanks, Tony. I'm making Christmas cookies. Hi, Lord. What's cooking? And what to watch?
That is so good.
Evie made her national TV debut with a quick video on CBS This Morning. An opportunity you can bet she loves to rewatch.
That was me.
That was you?
Yeah, on the TV.
We've probably watched the video 100 times. So now when we turn the TV on, she says, "Can I see Evie on the TV again?"
I'm sure Evie hasn't seen the last of herself on the big screen because there's a lot of personality in this small package. A gift to many, racking up thousands of views from her house. And until the next episode,
Thank you for watching my show.
Say bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, we have to bring in Simone joining us from Memphis, Tennessee. Simone, I'm sold. I mean, I got to watch Evie and hopefully on my TV. She's so cute. What was it like getting in the kitchen with her?
I know. Okay, so I was sold from the very beginning. A family member of hers actually reached out, and I work on a weekly segment that highlights positive news every week. But this was one that I could not pass up. She was amazing in the kitchen. I will say though, while we were making chocolate chip cookies, she ate all of the chocolate. So, we couldn't get much done, but I learned some, I will say.
I mean, let's be honest, we've all been there. Evie is just doing what we all do in the privacy of our own kitchen, but she goes on Facebook. She's all over Facebook. Tell us a little bit about where we can find her on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, so you have to go to her mother's page. It's Callie Balcally, and she has a Facebook page as well as an Instagram page. Of course, she's not old enough to have her own page. So her mother posts videos. She tries to get them done weekly. They took a little break for a minute, but then she started up with Christmas cookies, got her family involved. So hopefully you guys can check her out online. It's super, super cute and definitely puts a smile on your face.
Yeah, I mean, stardom is exhausting, and she's got a lot of it, a lot of star power there. Thanks so much, Simone, for sharing that with us. Everyone go check out Evie. She is so cute. I got to follow her on Instagram. That's a good follow there. Let's stick in Tennessee because a businesswoman who's known as Miss Claus made 2 large donations to help people pay their electricity and utility bills. I love stories like this. Alex Corradati introduces us to Miss Claus.
Thousands across Middle Tennessee are struggling to pay their bills because of the pandemic, asking to remain anonymous.
I text the mayor. She said, "Hey, this is a great idea." I said, "Hey, this is a great idea," and it just went from there.
Who had seen a story from another part of the country about a gentleman who had donated some money to cover the cost of thinking about if I can do the same thing here. And I said, absolutely you can. We'll figure out how.
Miss Claus made 2 donations, one to the customers of Gallatin Electricity,
$1,000 to those in need.
That ultimately paid for 60 customers of GPU to have their
vision for her family to make.
Most of these people, these 60 people, they only owe between $50 and $100. And this would help them over the edge, and it just made sense.
And they hope this act of kindness inspires others to pay it forward.
I think it already has. I had a phone call last night, and she said, well, how do I do this? And I told her to call the mayor.
Most people don't have the means to do something like what she did, but we all have the means to do a little something. I think in a year that has just seen so much heartache and sorrow and sadness, I was delighted to have something just warm and wonderful.
Giving the gift that keeps on giving. In Gallatin, Alex Corradetti, News 2.
We want to bring in Alex from Nashville, Tennessee. And Alex, I want you to go over one more time just how much money Miss Claus put forward, because in the package I saw $17,000, but there were 2 huge lump sums that she put out there.
That's right, Hillary. Good morning, first of all. So this was an awesome story because Miss Claus, anonymous donor, of course, she wrote the first check for over $7,500, and that was for the public utility customers. And then she called the mayor back and she asked about the customers of the electricity unit there. So then she wrote a check for over $10,000. So altogether, it kind of would probably be closer to $18,000, but that number is currently undisclosed. But I do know that this was a very generous donation on her part.
Very generous. And I mean, amid a pandemic, so many people are struggling to pay their bills. So she lifted a huge weight off the shoulders of so many. But what I loved in your package was what was said was, if you not everyone has the means to drop, $18,000, but a little bit can go a long way, even if you can do something small.
Right, and that's exactly what the mayor was hoping that this story would kind of inspire, not only in Nashville or Middle Tennessee, but the entire country, because right now everyone's going through something different, a struggle of some kind. Whether it's social interaction or financially, we're all going through something. So the hope of this story was that if you can't donate that much money, you could do something else. You could help someone carry their groceries to their car. Something as simple as that is what they're hoping that this will inspire. And what I do love about this idea is that Ms. Claus originally got it from watching the news. So she actually got it from somewhere else in the country, and it's already spreading.
Yeah, so a small action can go a long way, or in her case, a big action, but it doesn't matter how big or small. Thanks so much, Alex Corradetti out of Nashville, Tennessee for us. I love that. Miss Claus, what a good woman. But let's keep the good stories rolling, because that's how Hillary does it. I like the good stories. Steve loves them too. A Texas man has a new friend after losing his dog, but this is a positive one, I promise you. It's all thanks to the community. Jeon Kim shares his story.
I think it just gave us some time. It'll be Benji number 2.
It's a bittersweet introduction.
I know Benji's still in his heart, and he'll never stop looking for Benji. But at least he's got a baby now.
Charles Perry is still searching for his best friend Benji. It's been almost a month since his dog went missing.
Benji!
But Charles' friend Rebecca Barbie says it's time to move on.
Oh, it's awful. It just hurt my heart, I told him, I said, you're taking this dog. You can still look for Benji, but I want you to have a companion.
Neighbors here in Crane adopted a new dog for Charles. Missy is a 3-month-old Yorkie Chihuahua mix.
I still look for Benji. I take her with me. She gets used riding. She lays down in the front seat and goes to sleep when I'm riding around. She's just a baby. You gotta treat them like a baby.
And as Missy and Charles look forward, for Charles, his mind will always dwell on Benji.
Benji's my baby. He loves his daddy. He loves me more than anybody, my family ever loved me. And she'll be the same way.
Let's bring in Jeon Kim joining us from Odessa, Texas. And Jeon, I just want you to touch, it seemed like the community really came together to help him, find a replacement. It will never replace Benji, but at least give him a replacement while he continues to search for Benji and a companion.
For sure. I think what was so special about this story was that the entire community of Crane came together. It really started out with the sheriff's office, they kind of sent out a mass email, and it really just took off from there. And I think one of the things that we pride ourselves most here in West Texas is just how close-knit we are here, all the way in the West in Texas. So it was really good to be a part of this.
And then I want you to talk a little bit about his reaction when he was handed Missy, because just me watching it, I wanted to start crying because Missy's so cute, and just that companionship is so important, especially when you're older and in the older community.
I know. I wasn't actually there when they met for the very first time. I actually heard through Rebecca, his friend that you just saw in that package, that it was a little awkward. Obviously his heart is still with Benji, but it's just going to take a little bit of time until, they grow fonder with each other. So, I think everybody's just kind of hoping that she's going to fill that void for him. But of course, we're all waiting for Benji to come home.
Yeah, and hopefully Benji does, and then Missy and Benji can be best friends, and they can all have a great time. Thanks so much, Jeon Kim out of Odessa, Texas. And let's talk about this. Before we go, maybe you were watching this last night. For the first time ever, an NFL game was broadcasted on Nickelodeon. For the first time ever, that game on Nickelodeon, and you're going to know why, because check it out. Sliming in the end zone. Obviously, those are graphics, but when the Saints scored their first touchdown, it became a slime zone. I think it's pretty cool. Those graphics are pretty intense. That game was a lot more fun to watch. You know, the Saints would go on to win and advance to play my Buccaneers next. Obviously, I'm hoping the Bucs will win, but after the game, check this out. Head coach Sean Payton, he kept his promise to the team and the fans. He got slimed to celebrate the big win. The Saints knocked out the Bears 21-9. They're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next Sunday, a game I am not looking forward to. I'm already sweating thinking about it. Well, thanks so much for joining us for Newsfeed Now. I hope you have a marvelous Monday. Be sure to join us back here, same time, same place. We're going to have all those top trending stories you need to know in only 20 minutes. Have a great day. Bye.